Take heading as the investment-led growth. This is the Chinese growth model. Investment-led growth. China's growth model. See, what is the condition of the China's economy during 1947? It's as like India only. The condition of the China's economy during 1947, 1950, early 1950s, like India only. But if you look at the today's GDP of China, it is 3 times more than India's GDP. Why? What makes the change? Nothing but their model of growth. They went for investment-led growth. So what is this? What is the model? What is the China's model of growth? You know, China is good at manufacturing sector, right? China is good at manufacturing sector. And China opened up their economy way back than us. In its initial days only it opened its economy, and it opened its economy specifically for the secondary sector, means manufacturing sector. The reason is simply their population. From the beginning they are the highest population country, and their growth model is depending on the employment model. If the growth is through secondary sector only, there is the employment generation. They know this. If the growth is through tertiary sector, means that is not going to increase the employment, but it may adds on our GDP, but not on our employment. And infrastructure is generated when secondary sector is generated in India, or secondary sector get its growth in India, in any kind of country. So they focused on infrastructure. And entire structure of economy revolves around secondary sector. China's entire economic structure revolves around secondary sector. What is secondary sector's economic structure? The environment, economic environment, should be favors secondary sector than the tertiary sector. What is this? Environment favors to secondary sector. Hagandre, environment should favor the secondary sector. Means what? Secondary sector means like a manufacturing sector. What is the need for the manufacturing? Raw products. Means supply chain of the raw product should be stronger. See, consider a Nandini. Milk, like our supply chain is Nandini, milk cooperative, whatever. What is the supply chain? Here, farmers, like animal husbandry. This is allied agriculture activity of the farmers, and they supported in terms of cooperatives. They supported in terms of fodder for their cattle. They supported in terms of like veterinary doctors. So this is a kind of supply chain benefit, right? So supply chain for this Nandini is good, and they provide fodder for their animals, and they provide fodder, good amount, good price for their milk. That's why the farmers are encouraged to grow cattle, encouraged to keep cattle with them along with their agriculture. And what is the market side? Nandini stalls, and there is so many middlemen to supply Nandini milk to every house, right? Supply side also very good. Like there are so many agents in between that, wholesale agents, wholesale shops and retail shops related to Nandini. Not only this is for the milk. Nandini, like buttermilk, Nandini curd, Nandini sweets, whatever. See, this is entire kind of structural setup for manufacturing sector of Nandini, right? Same thing. The structural, economy structure, environment itself should be in favor of secondary sector. The manufacturing environment create adre matra alva sector yavadadru hogodu. This is the environment for the Nandini milk. Like that, for the secondary sector, China created an environment, kind of environment which would benefit the secondary sector, both in the supply side as well as in the market side. Market side, how it supported? I told you, there is two kinds of duties. Which duties? Customs duties. Two kinds of. One is if you are importing something, if you are exporting from that country. Export. Here also you will put duty, here also you will put duty. China's duty here is zero. Something, if China wants to export to some other countries, the exporter need not to pay tax or duty to the government. That means what? Indirectly, it encouraged the export. When it encouraged the export, it indirectly encouraging the manufacturing sector, right? So goods become competitive in the international market. When there is no duty to export, he can sell his goods with less minimum price than the price of the domestic goods of that country, foreign country. Like India sell ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ India domestic goods ಗಿಂತನೂ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ರೇಟಿಗೆ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು because there is no excise duty for them, right? Sorry, there is no custom duty for them in its export in that parent country. Right? This is the idea. This is the investment-led growth. Like, where is the investment here? When there is a favorable environment for the secondary sector, when there is a favorable environment for the manufacturing sector, so the foreign investors, they are encouraged to invest in secondary sector. When there is a favorable environment for the tertiary sector, they are going to invest in tertiary sector, right? So wherever he gets benefits, he is going to invest. If we created a favorable environment, easy environment in doing business or in doing investment in secondary sector, they are going to invest in secondary sector. And China did the same. China created its infrastructure, China created its supply chain, China created its market side, and China created entire economic structure itself is a favorable for the secondary sector. So manufacturing get its boost in China. Manufacturing get its boost in China, and investors, foreign investors started to invest in China's manufacturing sector. So that revenue for the government is started to coming from the manufacturing sector than the tertiary sector. So China's GDP is 3 times bigger than India's GDP. Then also China's GDP, major part of China's GDP is from the secondary sector of China. The biggest contributor of China's GDP is secondary sector, manufacturing sector, than tertiary sector. India's biggest contributor to the GDP is tertiary sector, IT, not secondary sector. So the structure itself is a problem in India. India and China in terms of population same only. So our structure should be secondary sector centric structure. But what is the situation in India? It is a tertiary centric. So this is wrong model actually. When it is a wrong model, difference starts in society. Concentration of the wealth in few hands, right? Again, this is the one, investment-led growth. This was followed by China. ನಿಮಗೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ಯಾವ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಬೇಕು, ಆ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೈನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬಂದರೆ ನೀವೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಈ ಥರ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಮೂಲ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದೇನೋ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಸೈಡ್ ಚೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇದೆ, ಇದೇ ಥರ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಫೇವರಬಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್? ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಟಪ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್, ದಿಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಎಕಾನಮಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಚೀನಾ ಡಿಡ್ ದಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಚೀನಾ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ನಾಟ್. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂಲ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್, ಚೀನಾ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ಸಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ನೀವೇ ಬರ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀವು ಏನೇನು ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ಕೊಡಿ. ರೈಟ್? ನೋ ವಾಟ್, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಚೀನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏರಿಯಾ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ತುಂಬ ಇದೆ ಚೀನಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಹಾಂಗ್ಕಾಂಗ್, ಬೀಜಿಂಗ್, ಶಾಂಘೈ, ಈ ಥರದ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಸಿಟಿಗಳು. ಶಾಂಘೈ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅವರ್ ಮುಂಬೈ. ಬೀಜಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಆದರೂ ಸಮೇತ ಶಾಂಘೈ ಸಖತ್ ಬೆಳೆದಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಆದರೂ ಮುಂಬೈ ಈಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಬೈ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಚೀನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಂಘೈ ಮತ್ತು ಹಾಂಗ್ಕಾಂಗ್ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೌತ್ ಸೈಡ್. ಇದೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು 4-5 ಸಿಟಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಸಮೇತ. ಇದು ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಚೀನಾ. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ UPSC ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ, ನಮಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಇದೇ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಹೊಡೆದಿರೋದು ಚೀನಾಗೆ. ಚೀನಾದ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಜನರೇಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೆರಿ few cities, right? 4-5 cities ಇಂದ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು. And because of the US sanction, because of the rest of the trade barriers, because of the anti-dumping duty, the manufacturers or the investors which is there in the China before, they just shifted their capital from China to India, China to Myanmar, China to USA, rest of the countries, but not China. So what happened? Generate ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಆ ಸೋರ್ಸೇ ಬಿದ್ದೋಯ್ತು. ಇವಾಗ ಚೀನಾ ಸದ್ಕೆ ನಾ ಅವಾಗ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದೆ GDP ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಚೀನಾದು ಅಂತ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 20-30 years ಇಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಸ್ ಕೋ ಇಸ್ ಸೇಮ್, ಇದೇ ಥರನೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಆದರೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಕಮ್ಮಿಯಾಗಿ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ಅನ್ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿ, ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿ, ಕಡೆಗೆ ಡಿಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಹೋಗಿ, ಕಡೆಗೆ ಒಂದಿನ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಫೇಲ್. And as of now, it is a good economy. Its GDP is 3 times bigger than India's GDP. Population same like India. ಓಕೆ, ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ಸಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ನೀವು ಬರಿಬೇಕು. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ? See, something globalization happens, which country going to benefit? Like globalization nothing but the connection between the two countries, right? Entire global as a single market, entire global as a one society, it's a globalization. My question is, developed country or developing country, which country going to get benefit when there is a globalization? Developing country ಮತ್ತು developed country connection ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾವ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ? ಡೆವಲಪಿಂಗ್, ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್? Which country benefits more? See, developing country, India is a developing or developed? Developing country. China? China is also developing country. See, one is second highest GDP in the world, another one is 5th highest GDP in the world. If you are considering second highest GDP and 5th highest GDP country as a developing country, then which is developed country? Yes, China is developing country, India is developing country. Then what is the criteria to take to say developing or developed? And who is the certifier? Who is the certifier? Who is going to certify? Yes, you are the developing. Yes, you are the developed. Who is going to certify? The country itself, you know this. The country itself, nobody going to certify it is a developed or developing. The country itself, in the UNO, United Nations Organization, it itself admitted as a developing. And then also why India and China is not, especially India, is not going to become developed? Why it is still happy to be as a developing country, showcase it as a developing country? What is the India's goal? You know this? India's goal is to become Vishwaguru, means supreme power in the world. Then also India wants to showcase it as a developing country. Double stand. Why? Even today, being a 5th largest economy, why? There are some benefits to showcase India as a developing country. What are the kinds of benefits? See, if you look at USA or if you look at some of the Western countries, they will allow you to give subsidy to your farmers or to your artisans or to your manufacturers only when you are developing country. If you become developed country in international level, you are not allowed to give subsidy for your farmers. ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ. ಫ್ರೀ ಯೂರಿಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ಡ್ ಯೂರಿಯಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯಾರೋ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೆ, ಆರ್ಟಿಸನ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯಾರೋ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದೀಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ showcase itself as a developed country. There are some lot many agreement. There are some agreement. That's why India want to showcase it as a developing country, not developed country. If it become developed country, it not able to, not allowed to give subsidies. Okay, this is all. If we not give subsidies to our domestic manufacturer, what happens? Subsidy ಕೊಡದೇ ಇರ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕೊಡದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸಿ ಚೀನಾದು ಇದೆ, ಚೀನಾ is the second highest in terms of GDP, then also it is developing. Why? If China become developed country, China not able to give subsidy to its manufacturer, when it not give subsidy to its manufacturer, their goods will not become competitive in the foreign markets. ಇದು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಚೀನಾ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್, ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್, ರೈಟ್? ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಯಾಕೆ? ಗೂಡ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್? ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಷ್ಟ ಆದ್ರೂ ಸಮೇತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅಗೇನ್ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಒನ್ ಕಾರ್ ಮಾರೋ ಬದಲು 1000 ಸೈಕಲ್ ಮಾರೋದು. ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ ಮಾರಿದಾಗ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ 1000 ಸೈಕಲ್ ಮಾರಿದಾಗ ಹನಿ ಗೂಡಿ ಹಳ್ಳ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಚೀನಾಸ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಅದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರ್ ಟು ವೇರ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್. ಡೆವಲಪಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ವಿತ್, ಇಫ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಡೆವಲಪಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಇನ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲೈಸೇಷನ್, benefits travels from where to where. See, there are two kinds here. If the Asian kind of countries started to connect with Europe kind of countries, the societal factors start to travel from Western countries to Asian countries. Westernization ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ. Their kinds of lifestyle, their kinds of relationships. See, live-in relationship is India's current social factor, but it is not Indian culture. It is a Western culture. Why we borrowed that? How it came to India? Through Western connection. That's it, right? So societal factor always move from developed to developing country, and some of the soft powers called yoga, soft powers called Ayurveda, these kind of soft powers will travel from developing to developed country, and high-end technologies that will going to travel from developed to developing country. Technology transfer happens. So it is depending, like which one would be beneficial, it is depending. Okay, take heading as a disinvestment. India's disinvestment started after 1992. ಏನು disinvestment ಅಂದ್ರೆ? Disinvestment after LPG 1992. Disinvestment culture started in India. What is disinvestment? Then investment means what? Investment. We are investing. Like ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ಮನಿನ we are investing. Like ಮನಿನ ಪೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. We are investing. Disinvestment means what? We are taking back the money which was invested earlier. We are taking back. And who is here? Government. If government take back its ownership from the already existing its company or already existing government entity, it's called disinvestment. Consider this is the Indigo. Means government entity, 100% first in the government hand, 10% in ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು company mark. This is 10%. This is the What is this? Is this disinvestment or what? Disinvestment. Then 20%, again disinvestment increases. If it is more than 50%, then ownership is there with government or with the private entity. Private entity here. Here, when it is 10 and 20, ownership is there with the government. If it is more than 50%, the government is not the deciding factor. Here, the private company, one which it holds more than 50% of its ownership, it is the deciding authority. It is the deciding authority in its decisions. So, this is disinvestment. See, 1% ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಮಾರಿದ್ರು, share ಮಾರಿದ್ರು. This is kind of share only. 1% ನಮ್ಮ ownership ಅನ್ನು ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. That is the starting point of the disinvestment. Then what is privatization? What is privatization? If this disinvestment increases or reaches more than 50%, then we call it as a privatization. Means now private players are the deciding authority in place of government. Disinvestment reaches more than 50%. We call it as a privatization. Now private players are the deciding authority in its judgment or in its decision making. Why government will go for the disinvestments? Normally, is this good? No, not good. Depends. See, if it is a loss-making company, if it is a loss-making public sector enterprises, then like disinvesting in this to a standard private company because of their knowledge, because of their skills, the private players' skills, they can uplift the company, right? If Indigo, ಟಾಟಾದವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಇದೆ, ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ. ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಡಿಸ್ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪೇ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಥ್ರೂ by looking after the efficiency of the employee. So when the working is happening through efficiency means the outcome is good. So depending on the enterprises, depending on the area, depending on the section where we are focusing, disinvestment is good or bad can be declared. Okay. So no, in general note, disinvestment is good, disinvestment is bad, we are not able to say. Why? Like disinvestment is sometimes looks like a bad thing. When it is a profit making company, then also they will disinvest, then also they will sell to some other private players. At that time there are criticism, like there are lot many allegations, maybe backside nexus. What is backside nexus? Under the table. How? ಈಗ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಏವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಏವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಏರ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ನವ್ರು ಹೋಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡೀತದೆ, ನೀವು ನಮಗೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಆಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಪಿ ಎಸ್ ಯು, ದೆನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಯು ಸೋಲ್ಡ್ ಟು ಸಂಬಡಿ ಎಲ್ಸ್, there is a backside game here ಅಂತ. They will show finger towards you, right? So this is another thing. So disinvestment is good or bad depending on the how the company is. If the company is profit making company, then disinvestment is bad. If the company is loss making company, then disinvestment is good. Like what we are selling depends on what we are selling. Yes. Yeah, please. So after 1991, after LPG, this kind of culture started in India, disinvesting culture. Okay. What is primary sector in the economy? Agriculture and its allied activity. The GDP from the primary sector when India got independence is more than the secondary and primary sector. But today, GDP from the primary sector is less only, but the employment generation from the primary sector is more. Around 50% of India's population, they are involved in agriculture. Means disguised unemployment is there in the agriculture. But the GDP which is generated out of that sector is very less comparatively. The people who are there in the tertiary sector is very less. Means employment generation in the tertiary sector is very low. But GDP contribution to the GDP is very high. In the secondary sector, there is no employment, there is no GDP. It is like a stagnant. Secondary sector is stagnant in India. It did not reaches its growth, or it did not see its growth. It is as like before only. See, my question is inequality increased after 1991 or not? Or decreased? Inequality in India is increased after 1991 or inequality decreased? Why? Just think what happens after 1999, then how it affects to rest of the cases. Just think for a second and give answer. Answer. Inequality increased or decreased after 1991? What do you feel? Like, is it increased or decreased? Increased. How it is increased? See, after 1991, what happened to India? What happened to India? There is no fresh investment from the domestic investors, right? The investment from the foreign started. Liberalization, privatization, privatization happened, and the private players are the not domestic ones, not Indians. They are the foreign ones. When the foreign investment came to India, the profit would go for the foreign only, foreign government only, not for the Indian government, right? Profit. Maybe some kind of employment got generated. That too, the investment came to India in the tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is not employment generating sector. So there is no salary at all. If the employment generated in tertiary sector, the employment level itself is the less, and along with that, some gig economy got generated out of that. If you look at Bangalore, there is a IT company. For that, because of that IT company, some chai wala, some cab driver, some rest of the gig economy which is surrounding that IT company. So the foreign investors, they take back their profit to their countries, and there is a gig economy concept. And very few educated elite family section people, they get their employment in IT sector. So concentration of wealth happened there. So inequality got increased after 1991. What happened to investment after 1991? Investment increased. Investment increased. Yes. Open kind of economy. And it is the easy way to invest also. And the government regulation over the market got increased or decreased? There is no license Raj. So government regulation over the market or over the economy got reduced. Ease of doing business, the environment was created. Take heading as a currency war. War kelidvi, trade war kelidvi. What is this currency war? See, to capture foreign market, what should be the domestic currency value in front of dollar? To capture foreign market means our export should be competitive. To make our export competitive, our currency value should be less. Countries competitively reducing their country's domestic currency just to capture the foreign market is called currency war. It's a competitive devaluation of currency just to capture foreign market or just to increase their export, to make their export competitive. See, who is going to, who is the authority to manage this foreign exchange? There was a body called FEMA. Today it is a FEMA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Before 1991, Foreign Exchange Regulation. Foreign Exchange Regulation. Now it is the Foreign Exchange Management Act. Before 1991, it is a Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. But after 1991, it became management. Here I want these two words, regulation and management, and tell me the difference between these two words. See, before 1991, it was foreign exchange was regulated, but after 1991, foreign exchange was managed. What is the difference? What is the difference? Something regulated means is it harsh or not? Regulated means restricted. It is a kind of closed economy. Foreign exchange was closed economy. Means foreign exchange was not encouraged. That was not entertained. Like it acts as a barrier. This act itself acts as a barrier. Foreign Exchange Regulation Act itself acts as a barrier for the foreign exchange. Right? So after 1991, India became liberalized its economy, or India went for liberalization of its economy. India went for privatization, globalization. When it is globalization, there is no barrier for its trade. When there is no barrier, its regulation become management. Management is a soft word, not hard word, harsh word. It's a soft word. So India started to manage its foreign exchange. India started to manage its foreign exchange after 1991. See, I told you money laundering. Money laundering is nothing but converting black into white through foreign route, right? And while coming through this route only, foreign exchange, right? So there should be a separate law to avoid that money laundering. That's why India brought a law called Prevention of Money Laundering Act. India brought a law called Prevention of Money Laundering Act to root off the black money. Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. These are the different acts. Take heading as a currency convertibility. This is a big concept, okay? Currency convertibility. What are the two kinds of accounts? Oh. current account and capital account. Okay, currency convertible, something converting currency from what it is, something converting currency. Convert ಮಾಡೋದು currency ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? What it is? Converting currency. One kind of currency to another kind of currency, like rupees to dirham or rupees to dollar, another kind of foreign domestic currency ಅಥವಾ ಡಾಲರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. See, in ease of doing business, while giving a rank, the World Bank also looked after is that country is fully convertible or partially convertible in its currency convertibility. Fully convertible means if the investors wants to fly off from that market to rest of the markets, means India to rest of the country like Myanmar, like China wants to fly off its capital, then the investment in India, is it converted to that country's domestic currency or not? Is there any restrictions? Restriction unta athwa easily convert agutta anta? If it is easily converted to that country's domestic currency, then we call it as a completely convertible. If there is lot many restrictions in its convertibility, we call it as a partially convertible. If there is 100% restriction, means it is not convertible. It is not even convertible. Currency convertibility is nothing but it is related to fly off, like capital investment fly off, one country in the another country. Take time and write everything. You understood, right? Currency convertibility means converting one kind of currency into two kinds of currency, another kind of currency. And normally the situation arises when there is a capital shifts or capital flies from one country to another country. If the environment is good, if the environment is like the law, the constitution itself is fully convertible, the constitution allows the investors to do fully conversion, then only we will get good ranks in ease of doing business. If our constitution is very rigid, we are not allowing fully convertibility, we are allowing only partial convertibility, then our rank in the ease of doing business would be low. So the investors is not going to invest in partial convertibility or no convertibility countries. The investors always want to invest in a fully convertible countries. Whenever they felt loss or whenever they feel to move out of that country, they should be in a position to move out of that country. They don't want any restrictions, they don't want any barriers for their movement. If it is partially convertible, means there is a kind of barrier for their capital flight, right? Because this is not just lakhs of rupees or crores of rupees. Investment means thousands of crores. This is from the investor's point of view. From the country's point of view, which is good? For the investor point of view, which is good? Fully convertibility is the good. From the country's perspective, partial or less convertible kinda partial convertible is good. Why? See, if it is zero convertibility, means nobody will come to invest you in your country. If it is fully convertible, means your country is unstable. Today there is lot many companies in your country. Tomorrow may not be zero company. So fully convertibility is also bad. Zero convertibility is also bad. Partial convertibility is the healthy economy's feature. India following partial convertibility with respect to capital account and fully convertibility with respect to current account. Like hege fully convertibility in current account hege? See, the remittances which is receiving me from Dubai, that is a foreign currency which is moving to India through current account, and there is no restriction for that. ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ರುಪೀಸಿಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದನೂ ವಾಪಸ್ ನಾನು ದುಬೈಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ರುಪಿನ ದೇರಮಿಗೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನು ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಿಬಲ್. From the current account perspective, it is fully convertible. India is following full convertibility in a current account perspective. In the capital account perspective, India partially convertible. And India is moving towards fully convertible or zero convertible. India is moving towards zero convertible. If it is fully convertible, means what happens? What happens? Economy stability got decreases. So stable economy means capital should not be able to fly off suddenly. That is what happened in Netherlands. That is called Dutch disease. I will come to that today only. Is it a kind of protectionism? Being partially convertible country, it's a kind of protectionism, right? For the foreign investors, we want to protect our investment from flying off, right? It is a kind of protectionism. What is the China's scheme? Is it partially convertible or fully convertible? What may be? I told you, like flight off to Myanmar, India, that means it is fully convertible. That is why China is hurting today. Why it made fully convertible before? To attract investment. To attract investment, it made it, economy as fully convertible, and as its expectation, the investment came to China. Today it's as like that only, it is flying off to the rest of the countries. So being a stable economy, to build a stable economy, fully convertibility is not good. Partial convertibility is good. ಇದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ fully convertibility, partially convertibility? Here what they are converting? They are converting currency from our domestic currency to the company where it wishes to go, that country's domestic currency. If the present setup domestic currency, domestic government, if it ready to convert it to some other country's currency, then that is fully convertible. If it had some barriers for its convertibility, or if it shows like restrictions for its convertibility, then it is partial. Take heading is a Dutch disease. ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ, ನೆದರ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. Dutch disease, DUTCH. Dutch disease. What is this Dutch disease? ಏನಿರ್ಬೋದು? This is economic disease, okay, not biological. Economic disease. You know what? In Netherlands, suddenly in some of the wells of the Netherlands, petroleum extraction started. Sudden excavation of petroleum. Sudden excavation in a large scale. Before it is a petroleum importing country. Suddenly it got its mines, it got its extraction centers, and it started to extract enormous amount of petroleum. When it starts to extract enormous amount of petroleum, it started to export its petroleum to some rest of the countries. When it started to export its petroleum to some of the countries, what happened? The dollars start to flow into the Netherlands. when dollar flow got increased, the number of dollars got increased, right? When there is number of dollars is more in front of the domestic currency, the domestic currency value going to increase. Means Netherlands domestic currency becomes so powerful. Whereas when the Netherlands domestic currency becomes so powerful, its export become See, it started to export its petroleum so that more dollars started to coming into the Netherlands, but rest of the exports of the Netherlands started to decreases. Why? Because the domestic currency value in front of dollar become high. Means domestic currency become standard in front of dollar. When domestic currency becomes standard, means $1 is equal to 50 rupees. That was the situation. Export become less competitive, right? For petroleum it is okay. For rest of the export, it got hurted. When rest of the export got hurted, the investors, one who invested in Netherlands, they started to fly off from the Netherlands. So for every other material, for every other object, Netherlands started to import from the rest of the countries, because there is no manufacturing sector at all, because every other investor, they started to fly off, and the Netherlands is completely convertible country with its currency convertibility. Okay, this is called Dutch disease. So Netherlands went into problem, fall into the trap, went into the problem, because rest of its export become less competitive. That's why the investors just fly off from the Netherlands to rest of the countries. One line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, like appreciation of the currency makes export less competitive. This is Dutch disease. Over appreciation of the currency making export less competitive. Yes or no? Yes, right. Over appreciation of currency making export non-competitive or less competitive in an international market. This is Dutch disease. Dutch because of Netherlands. The name Dutch because of Netherlands. Okay. ನೀವು ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದನ್ನ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಝೀರೋ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ, ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬರ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ದೇ ನಾಟ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಫ್ಲೈ ಔಟ್. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಸಮೇತ ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಗಾಗಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ನಿಲ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು, ರೈಟ್? Take heading as a dirty float. See, what is $1 today in terms of rupees? 75, 74, 75, 76 ಈ ರೇಂಜಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. 75. See, government normally set a standard like 70 to 80. If $1 is equal to 70, in between 70 to 80, government is not going to intervene. If the market, because of the circumstances which is arising in the market, if $1 become less than 70, if $1 become more than 80, then government start to intervene into the market to stabilize the rupee value in front of the dollar. If the government, if the 1 rupee is equal to less than 70, less than 80, then only it will intervene. Otherwise, it is not going to intervene because market only set the price in front of market only set the value of the rupee in front of dollar. This is called dirty flow. When the flow is moved out of market control, then government intervene and set the stability. Okay, this concept is called dirty flow. If everything is okay, government is not going to intervene. First, what government will do? Government will set up the like 70 to 80 standard. If $1 is equal to in between 70 to 80, government is not interested to intervene. If $1 become 69, if $1 become 80, this is just an example. Okay, government will set the standard. If market destabilizes that standard, or if the rupee value is become cross the margins, two extremes, then government comes into picture to stabilize the rupee value. This concept is called dirty flow. Dirty float or flow, whatever. So in India, country's restrictions over current account convertibility is there or not? In India, country's restrictions over its convertibility, currency convertibility, in its current account is there or not? It is not there. But country's restrictions over its convertibility in its capital account is there. That's why India is a partial convertible country. Okay, ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ. India is a partial convertible with respect to capital account. India is a fully convertible with respect to current account. If ownership of the government more than 50%, then it is government owned, any company. If private ownership is more than 50%, that is privatization, right? Because the decision making authority is private player, not government player. If it is more than 50%. Okay, ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬ ಸತಿ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Means ownership, more than 50% talks about ownership. 100%, if it is 100% private, then it is complete owner or complete subsidiarity ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Subsidiarity, complete subsidiarity. If it is in between the 25 and 50, we call it as a stakeholder. But to came to any kind of decision, there must be 75% of decisions or support, 75% of the support, not decision. See, ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ, 50% ಮೇಲೆ ಇದ್ರೆ private player ownership, they can decide whatever they want. If it is less than 50%, means 25% ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರೆ, or 26% or 30% till 49% ಇದ್ರೆ, they need 75% of the support to come to a decision. Like government ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, private ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. Like 100% ಇದೆ, 100% ಇದೆ, 100 people's ಹತ್ರ ಶೇರ್ ಇದೆ, and one party ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಬೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ 49% ಶೇರ್ ಆಯ್ತು, 49% share ಆಯ್ತು. Then also he is not able to take his own decision. Even if it is 49, 50, then he is able to take his decision. If he is in between 49 and 1, like 50 ಗಿಂತ ಕೆಳಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವಾಗ 75% of the people ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಬೇರೆ ಬೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಟೋಟಲ್ 75% ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು he can come to a decision. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕನಾಮಿ ಒಳಗಿರೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಗಳು, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು. ಇದು ಕಂಪನಿ ಒಳಗೆ ನಡೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಲೈಕ್ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 50% ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೋಬೋದು. 49% ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು 75% ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಯುನಾನಿಮಸ್ಲಿ ಅಗ್ರೀಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ನಾಟ್. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ LLB ಅಲ್ಲಿ 3rd ಇಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಲಾ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ಗಳು. ಓಕೆ, 3rd or 4th ಇಯರ್. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಪೊಲಿಟಿ ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಅದು ಹೇಳಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Why did India did not achieve its complete convertibility? Why did India? One, there is a lesson from the Netherlands. Right, one there is a lesson from the Netherlands, and another there is another lesson from the southeastern countries. Yavadu southeastern countries India ge? Southeasterns, not southeasterns, like Indonesia, Myanmar, Thailand. That too Thailand country. Thailand alli enaitu? You know what? After subprime crisis of USA. What is subprime crisis? USA. See, USA once the financial crisis start agittu. Just one story ತರ ಕೇಳಿ. USA once the financial crisis start agittu. Financial crisis start ಆದಾಗ the capitalists, the investors from the USA, they started to fly off their capitals, fly off their investment from the USA to rest of the countries. Some of them choose China, some of them choose India, some of them choose Thailand also. Okay, after some years the economic situation recovered in USA. Ella clear ಆಯ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ one who invested in China, one who invested in India, they didn't fly back, ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, because it is a ಪಾರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಕನಾಮಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೀನಾದಲ್ಲೂ ಫೇವರಬಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಬಲ್. ದ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಥೈಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫುಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಬಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಫೇವರಬಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಸೊ ದೇ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಫ್ಲೈ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು USA and they fly and Myanmar become, Thailand, not Myanmar. The Thailand becomes suddenly, today it is very rich countries and tomorrow it has become poor country. ಈ ತರದ ಸಡನ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. So this is another lesson. The lesson one, Dutch disease. Another, southeastern countries sudden shift in its economy, especially Thailand. ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು USA ಇಂದ ಹೀಗಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಇದೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬರೀರಿ, I'll give time. ಇದು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, why India did not go ahead to complete convertibility, ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಇವರ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ನೋ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. ಯಾಕೆ? ಪ್ರೂಫ್ ಇದೆ. ಥೈಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಬರೀರಿ. ಥೈಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, there was an economic crisis in USA and after economic crisis recovered and they fly back to USA. Thailand's government went for complete convertibility. That's why it became easy to fly off their capital, return, fly back, become easy, very easy. That's why they went back. ಹೀಗೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಹೋಗಿ. And at the end India should not go for complete convertibility. Partial convertibility is good. At least you can say, in this kind of situation, India should not go. As of current situation, this is the partial convertibility is good for India. That too, capital account. You can do it in a current account. From perspective of the capital account, partial convertibility is the best decision in current situation. This must be your conclusion. Okay. Cascading effect ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? Take heading as a cascading effect. This is again very important topic in economy. Cascading effect. Cascading. What is this cascading effect? Something cascading. The light is cascading. physics alvar cascading, reflection anta. Cascading something is reflection anta. Cascading effect in economy, what it is? ಏನು reflect ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? Here the tax is going to reflect, okay? Tax. ಹೇಗೆ? There is n number of tax. Actually, the motive of GST is to dissolve this cascading effect. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಥರ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೆಲವು ಕಡೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಗಳು. ಅದನ್ನು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಿ GST ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ಒನ್ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ಒನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಅಥವಾ ಒನ್ ಗುಡ್ ಒನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. GST is value addition tax, that's different. See, cascading effect, I'll give a best example, okay? Like one Oppo company, consider iPhone company, Indiaದಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. The phone is 60,000 rupees. The cost of the phone is 60,000 rupees. And central government puts excess duty over that phone. ಏನು excess duty? Excess duty. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಂತಾನೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. The duty over which manufacture, ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. 60,000 ರೂಪಿ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 10% ಅಂತ ಒಂದು 6,000 ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ 6,000. ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಇದು ಫೋನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ? ಸಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಫೋನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ವಿಚ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್? ಎಕ್ಸೈಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ cost of the phone? Price 66,000, right? 60,000 rupees. Okay, this is cost of. Next, ಇದೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು? ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಂತು, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಿಂದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಂತು. Here it is a market, right? State government is the market, central government is just a route, state government is the market, and this is the place for sell. So state government is definitely state government is applying sales tax over its sale, right? The sales tax not only for this 60,000, sales tax is also there for this 6,000. Means sales tax is for 66,000. Sales tax is for 66,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ. ನೀವು ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಮಾರಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಸೊ 66,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಯಾರು ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಮಾರಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರು? ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Here my question is, I am okay to pay sales tax. I am okay to pay sales tax for the 60,000 because this is the cost of that product. But I am not happy to pay sales tax for the 6,000 because this 6,000 is not my cost of the product. It's a already I paid tax. This is the tax on tax ಅಲ್ವಾ? 66,000ಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಒಂದು 600 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿ. 600 rupees I paid as a sales tax for this 6,000, not for that 60,000. 60,000 ಗೆ ಒಂದು 6,000 again for this 6,000. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 600. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 66,000 plus 6,000 plus 600, 72,600 ಅಲ್ವಾ? 72,600 rupees. ಏನಾಯ್ತು? This is the price, final price of the mobile phone. 60,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡೋಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ 72,600 rupees ಆಯಿತು. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ದಿಸ್ 6,000 ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇದೇನು ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇದು ಪ್ರೈಸ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರೋ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ದಿಸ್ 600, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವರಿ. 72,000, ದಿಸ್ 600 ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, ಈ 600 is a cause of concern for me. Because this 6,000 is not for my product. This is for the tax I already paid to the central government. This is the tax on tax. So tax is reflected back as a tax, cascading effect. Understood? neutralize this cascading effect, this is a kind of suppressing the market, suppressing the manufacturer, right? ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಹರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನೋ ಬಡಿ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬೈ 72,000 60,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಐಟಮ್ಗೆ 72,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ತಗೋಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಬೈ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಪ್ರೆಷನ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಹರಾಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಓವರ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಕೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್. ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಗಿವ್ ಸಮ್ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಕಾರ್ ಶೋರೂಮಿಗೆ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ ಬೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೆಲವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಕಾರ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸಮೇತ. ಆದರೂ ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಟು ಅದು ಇದು ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ನಿ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕಾರ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ? ಮೊನ್ನೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಹೇಳಿ. ಗಣಪತಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚು, ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚುನೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೊಡೆ, ಕಾರ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಕೊಡೆ ಅದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದಾಯ್ತು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೊಡ್ಡದೇನೋ. ಓಕೆ, ಕಾರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ಸೋ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅವರು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನ ಅವರೇ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನೇನೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೀಟ್ ಕವರ್ ಹಾಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಮತ್ತೇನೋ ಸ್ಟೇರಿಂಗ್ ಕವರ್ ಅದು ಹಾಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬಂಪರ್ ಪಾಲಿಶ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಇದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಶಾಂಪೂ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ವಾಟರ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ? ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ರಿಮೂವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಕೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್, ದೇ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ರೀಪೇ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಸೊ ಈ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ 600 ರೂಪೀಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, ಇದನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ಹಾಕತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಬಿಗ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮಾರುತಿ ಶೋರೂಮಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಕಾರ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅವ್ರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಆಭರಣಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕಾರು, ಆಭರಣ ಶೋರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ? ಆಭರಣ ಶೋರೂಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಸೇಲರ್, ಬಟ್ ಮಾರುತಿ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್. ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್ಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಕೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋ ದುಡ್ಡು ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಆಭರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ದ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಏನೋ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್. ಸೊ ಮಾರುತಿ ಕಾರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾರುತಿ ಶೋರೂಮಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಬೆಟರ್. ಆಭರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಕೊಡೋಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಓಕೆ. ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ ನಾ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂತ? ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ? ನೋ? ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಯಾ. ಸೊ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪೇ ಯು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋದೊಂದು ನೆನಪಿರಲಿ. Why they will pay you back? Why government is pay you back? Because to support the manufacturing sector. This is a kind of harassment over the manufacturing, right? This is a kind of harassment. This is a kind of suppression. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ ಸೆಕ್ಟರೇ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಈ ಥರದ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಕೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದರೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪೇ ಯು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಕೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್. ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪೇ ಯು ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು ಗಿಫ್ಟ್. ಹಾಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, or take heading globalization of profit. This is another kind of concept. Globalization of profit. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇವನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಲ್ವಾ, ಸೇಮ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಏನೋ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್? ಗ್ಲೋಬಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್. Globalization of profit. See, what is tax haven country? Converting black into white, and they will get revenue out of that conversion, and that will enter back into India as a foreign investment. Right? That is the entire setup of the. See, this is what is globalization of profit is also same thing. But there illegal, here it is legal. There black money converted into white through foreign. Here white only going to foreign and white only coming back to India. ಹೇಗೆ? ಯಾಕೆ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ವೈಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ರು ವೈಟ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರು ವೈಟ್, ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರು ವೈಟ್. ಯಾಕೆ? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು? ಸಿ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿದ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಹೇಗೆ, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹೆವನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮನಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ನೋ ದ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮನಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಿಯರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್? ಗ್ಲೋಬಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್. ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಲೈಕ್ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್. 5,000 crore 5K crore ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷ. ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ 5,000 ಕೋಟಿ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಅದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು 2K crore, ನಾಟ್ 2K crore, 20,000 crore. ಇಷ್ಟಿದು 5K 5 lakh, ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ 5 lakh crore ವರ್ತ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 20,000 crore ನೀವು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್, ಸೇಮ್ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಲ್ಡೀವ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಇದೆ. ಮಾಲ್ಡೀವ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಮ್ 5,000 crore 5 lakh crore ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್, 5 lakh crore ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇವ್ರ ಹತ್ರನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವಿಚಾರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪನಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಕಂಪನಿ, ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ. ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಿಂದ ಸೇರಿ 5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೋಟಿ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಲಾಭ, 5 lakh crore ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಮಾಲ್ಡೀವ್ಸ್ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ 20,000 ಬೇಡ, 10,000 crore ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ನಿಮ್ದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋದಾಗ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ದೆನ್ ಈ 5 lakh crore ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಮೇಜರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ 5 lakh crore ಅರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಮೇಜರ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. Then also they will shift the profit which is generated in India towards Maldives to pay tax. Once it is paid tax means that is okay, whatever may be the government. Once paid tax means that is clear. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ, ಮಾಲ್ಡೀವ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ. ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ಅಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 5,000 ಕೋಟಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, 5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೋಟಿ 5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕ್ರೋರಿಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 20,000 crore ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 10,000, which is good. Maldives is good. That's why globalization of profit means the profit got globalized. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಿಂದ ಮಾಲ್ಡೀವ್ಸ್ ಇವತ್ತು. ಮಾಲ್ಡೀವ್ಸ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇದು? 10 lakh crore ಪುಕ್ಸಟೆ ಫ್ರೀ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ IT ಕಂಪನೀಸ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ವ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್, ಲೈಕ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಅವರ್ revenue or tax base for our IT companies so that they will pay here only, otherwise they will pay in some other branches which is there in outside the country anta. But again there is a problem. Already ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ತಾನೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಇರೋದು, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲೇ ಕಟ್ತಿರೋರು, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ there is a problem. Okay, this entire story I'll give a story full version. I want this. This is a big concept actually. ನಿಮ್ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿರೋಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಈಗ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಬಿಗ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಇದನ್ನೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹೆವನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಬಿಗ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ. ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್, there is a international company and that company having branches in so many countries, and the profit which is generating out of all branches is consolidated in one country where the tax regime is easy or tax percentage is very less. So profit generated in entire globe is concentrated in one single country where tax is less. That itself is called globalization of profit. ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದಾ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆಚೆ? ನಮ್ದು ವೈರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ರೋಬೋಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಏನೋ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೀರಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಹೀಗೆ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ your answers looks like a very boring answer. It should be spicy. What are the two kinds of policies in government level? One is monetary policy, another one is fiscal policy, right? Monetary policy means, ಅದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು, monetary policy, fiscal policy. No, let's discuss. See, actually this is very big concept. Okay, ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಮುಗ್ದೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ನಾನು PUC ಮತ್ತು ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯವರಿಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಟೈಮ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್, ಯಾವುದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಫೆನ್ಸಸ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅರ್ಥನೇ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ? ಫೈನ್. ಟೂ ಕೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಟೂ ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್. Two policies, like one is fiscal policy. Another one is monetary policy. Okay. See, fiscal policy means something government, the government policy. Here monetary policy means something bank, RBI. RBI, bank or RBI. See, inflation is plus or minus 4%. ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಾ? Inflation target of India is plus or minus 4%. What is this? See, government. See, another economic part of the government itself is RBI, right? Another economic part of the government, another part of the government from the economic point of view is RBI, right? So, government every year, not like 1 year gantalla, 5 years, 10 years ganta heli, now and then give like ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, assignments to the RBI. What should be the way, what should be the route map for our country's economy anta. And it also gives the inflation percentage, like 4% inflation plus or minus 2. 4 plus or minus 2 means what? 4 plus 2, 6% inflation. 4 minus 2, 2% inflation. Means our country's inflation in between 2 to 6%. 7% ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು, 2% ಗಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬರಬಾರ್ದು. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿರಬೇಕು, 4 ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಬೈ ದಿ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ದಿ RBI. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್. ಇದೊಂದು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? RBI ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. RBI should maintain this. RBI should maintain this. Again there is a problem here. First reason ಬರ್ಬಿಡಿ, I'll tell you. What is this plus or minus 2%? 4. It's an inflation target. Or see, fiscal policy means the policy which is generated out of the government. Monetary policy means the decision which is taken by RBI or the bank. RBI to maintain the stability of the economy, to maintain the health of the economy. If RBI took any decision, that decision become monetary policy. If the policy is generated out of the government, that kind of decisions, that policies will become fiscal policy. Fiscal, something fiscal means government, something monetary means bank, RBI. This is all. And what is the criteria to control inflation? ಹೇಗೆ inflation control ಮಾಡೋದು? What is inflation first of all? Increase in the price. Increase in the rate of price. Price ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗೋದು. And how you can control that? When money is in the hands of the people, how it affects on the inflation? It supports inflation, right? So when the amount of money which is in a liquidity, see, don't write, just listen. When amount of money, like the number of money is more in the economy, it favors inflation or not? The quantity of money is more in the economy. Consider the situation, quantity of money, the number is more in the economy. It favors inflation or not? It favors inflation. When the number of money is more, people demand would be more. Again, there is a cycle, right? So it favors the inflation. So who is going to decide what should be the money? ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು? RBI ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಹೇಗೆ? How it can decide? Again, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಕೆಲವರು ಇದು ಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವರು SLR ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, CRR ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸಣ್ಣದನ್ನ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. ಲೈಕ್ ಮನಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಎಕಾನಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಲ್ಲಿ? RBI ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ದಟ್. ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು RBI? ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್, ಇಫ್ ದ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೋ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಡೋಂಟ್ ರೈಟ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿಸನ್, ದೆನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? If the interest rate is very low, how it affects our inflation or how it affects our money supply in the market? If interest rate is low in RBI ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಾಲ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ? ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ. ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ? ಲೆಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. When commercial banks gets its loan from the RBI with less minimum interest, it also lends to the customer with less minimum interest. When loan become cheaper, the investment in the market become huge. Investment number ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆವಾಗ ಮನಿ ಪಂಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಎಕಾನಮಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಯಾವಾಗ? ಇದು 2ಗಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬಂದಾಗ. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಇವಾಗ 6ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೋಯ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹೇಗೆ? ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು economic activity ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Money in the hands of the public going to reduces, so that inflation going to reduces. This is the one concept. This is just one concept. ಅದೇ ತರ ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ. Like SLR, CRR. What is SLR? SLR means what? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂಟರಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡಿಟಿ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನೋ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂಟರಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡಿಟಿ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ RBI. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಒಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಸಿಲಿ. ಅದು ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್, ಹೇಗೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ? ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ RBI, how RBI can control the inflation with its interest rate, right? So RBI can control inflation ಅನ್ನೋದೊಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? RBI can control inflation in the economy. But my question is, ನೀವು ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂದೋಣ. ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಬರೀ, I'll give time. or see, RBI for somewhat it can control inflation, but RBI alone is not able to control inflation, because inflation is not only depending on the number of money which is there in the market, it also depending on the supply chain, it also depending on the market, it also depending on the the demand of the people. See, when there is no supply chain, when there is no proper supply chain, so demand for the product going to increases, because when supply is less, the demand is more, price more, inflation. Supply less, first day ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದಾಗ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದಾಗ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ರೇಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಚೈನ್ RBI ಅಂಡರ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? RBI ಅಂಡರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ತಾನೆ. ದೆನ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ? ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್, RBI ಹೇಳ್ತಿದೆ. ದೆನ್ ದಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಚೈನ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆಫ್ government. So fiscal policy, monetary policy not able to alone control inflation, right? Because rest of the factor is there with the government hand, not with the RBI hand. Only money supply in the market is there with the RBI hand, right? This is not only supply chain, like cold storage. If it is perishable item, like flour, like fruit, like vegetables, if there is a good infrastructure like cold storage facilities, if it is a good infrastructure like a good logistic connections, like airway connection, waterway connection, proper roads, then the supply would be good. When there is supply good, there is no inflation, right? Proper supply means proper healthy economy. Inflation starts with something, when problem generates, rest everything having effect. Like it's a, what we call, there is a word for that. Cascading, same cascading effect means reflection. Onral problem adre innondu problem aಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು problem adre ಇನ್ನೊಂದಕ್ಕೆ. Tunneling effect, we call it as a tunneling effect. Okay. Means ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. If we had a problem without having cold storage, our flour got like rotten, or food got rotten, means that is also going to affect our supply to food processing industry, or for other rest of the industries, cultural industries, rest of the factors. So that is not in the hands of the RBI. So government as well as RBI combinedly can control the inflation, but not only RBI. That you should know. But not only RBI. This is the combined effort. Because only money supply is in the hands of the RBI. Rest of the things is outside the purview of the RBI. It's directly under the control of the government. If government wants, whatever it can take, whatever step it can take. Okay, this is all. My question is, ಇದು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿಗೆ, ನಾವು ಈಗ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದು ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪುಲ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೇಗೆ? The statement is like, monetary policy can control demand pull inflation. This is the statement. Yes or no? Huh? No. No. Okay. What is demand pull inflation? I gave a word, right? Demand pull inflation. Line. I gave a line. Too many money choosing too few goods. That is demand pull inflation. Too many money means money supply in the market is too big. Like there is huge supply of amount, huge supply of cash in the economy. RBI can control money supply in the market. RBI can control money supply in the market. When money supply is more, if the money supply itself pulls the demand, that is demand pull inflation. RBI can control the money supply in the market. RBI means monetary policy. So monetary policy can control the demand pull inflation. Yes, the statement is right. ಹೀಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ಲಿಂಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪುಲ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತನೂ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಟರ್ಲಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಎ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಟು ಸೇ ಎಸ್. ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನೀವು ಬರಿತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಬರಿತಾನೆ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಟು ವರ್ಕ್. ವೆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ದೆನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ನೆಂಟ್ ಮೋಡ್. ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಹಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಥ್ರೂ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ವೇ ಆಫ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಏನೋ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರೋದೇ ಹಾಗೆ, ಬರೆದು ಏನಾದರೂ ಕಲ್ತ್ರೆ ಅದು ಮರ್ತೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, ಬರಿತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ. ಏನಾದರೂ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಏನೋ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಚಿತ್ರ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಬರೋದಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬರಿತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. Is inflation is good or bad? Yesterday we discussed it, right? Or morning. Growing economies always grow with inflation. So minor inflation is or mild inflation is good only. Mild inflation is good only, but hyperinflation is bad, or deflation is bad. Deflation is bad, not mild deflation is good. No, deflation is bad only. What happens when there is a deflation? To the production got increases or decreases? Tell me. Ee tara link, this is very important for UPSC. When there is a deflation, what happens to the production? Increase or decreases? Deflation means less in the price of the good. When there is less in the price of the good, supplier is not happy to supply more. When the supplier is not happy to supply more means what? Production decreases. ಹೀಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಓಕೆ, ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಇದೇ ತರ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆದರೂ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. If supply increases, production increases, supply decreases, production decreases, what happens to our GDP? GDP is going to fall because the production. What is GDP? ಆ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ. GDP ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಇಂಟು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎಷ್ಟು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ GDP. When there is less demand means what? Because of deflation, less demand means less production. Less production means quantity going to decreases. Something quantity decrease means GDP also decreases. So growth, what happens to growth? Growth going to fall. So economic growth is associated with not deflation but with inflation. So economic growth is associated with inflation, not with deflation. Because if there is a deflation in the society means no demand. No demand means no supply. No supply means no GDP or decrease in the GDP. Decrease in the GDP means fall in the growth. Hyperinflation or high inflation means what happens? See, what is saving? Saving. Saving is an Indian culture, okay? Foreign level saving culture is. What is saving? This is individual concept. Difference between our income and our expenditure is the saving, right? 10,000 salary ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, 8,000 ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, 2,000 ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ, that is saving. 1 lakh salary ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, 80,000 ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, 20,000 ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ, that 20,000 is saving. So it is the difference between my income and my expenditure. That is what saving. See, when there is a high inflation or hyperinflation is there in the economy, market. How it affects on my saving? My saving going to increases or saving going to reduces? Saving going to increase or saving going to reduce? Yeah. See, ಮೊದಲು ನನಗೆ 1 lakh ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, 80,000 ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತದೆ, 80K ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, 1 lakh ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 80,000 ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಇವಾಗ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಫುಡ್, ಸೇಮ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಸೇಮ್. ಬಟ್ 80,000 ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ, 90,000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. So my saving got reduces from 20,000 to 10,000, right? So when there is hyperinflation, my saving going to decreases. Saving going to decreases. See, normally where we will save our money? Bank. So amount in the bank going to decreases. Amount in the bank going to decreases. When there is less amount in the bank, when there is less amount in the bank, it lends less. So investment in the society going to decreases, because ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ನವ್ರು ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲ? ಯಾರು ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ? ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಹೈಪರ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ less. So lending capacity of the bank, lending capacity of the bank going to hurt, when bank not able to lend, the investment in the society or investment in the economy going to decreases, going to reduce. When there is less investment, less manufacturing, then it is a cycle again. Okay, less manufacturing means unemployment and less revenue for the government, everything affects. So again fall. So again growth going to affect salva. Less manufacturing means less revenue for the government, less revenue means less manufacturing means less GDP, because GDP is a number. See, quantity into price. Less manufacturing means quantity going to reduces. So less manufacturing, because less investment. When less investment, less manufacturing, GDP going to decreases. GDP going to, when GDP means what? It is a growth factor. Economic growth become reduces, or growth falls. Again, growth falls. The economic growth reduces. So when it is deflation, then also economic growth going to hurt. When it is hyperinflation, then also economic growth going to hurt. When it is mild inflation or normal inflation, that will leads to economic growth, or that favors the economic growth. More concept artha aita? First concept alli enagutte deflation alli, when there is a deflation in the economy. ಏನು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಲೋ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಡಿಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಲೋ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಯಾಕೆ? ನೋ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ. ಸಿ, ಡಿಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ಫಾಲ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ನೀವು ಹಾಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಡಿಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಫಾಲ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. Something fall in price means supplier is not happy to supply more. ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನೆನ್ಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮೊದಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ನಾನು. ಓಕೆ, ಇದೊಂಥರ ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಥರನೇ, ನೀವು ತುಂಬ ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೋ ಸಪ್ಲೈ. ಸಿ, ಡಿಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ವೆನ್ ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಲೆಸ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್, suppliers don't want to supply more because there is a less in the price. When supply reduces, again GDP going to reduces. GDP is a growth factor, growth going to reduces, right? Same thing, hyperinflation. When it is hyperinflation, savings got hurts. Savings got hurts means the banks capacity to lend going to hurt. So investment in the economy going to hurt and growth going to hurt because GDP is less. When it is mild inflation, it cooperates with everything else. Entire economy health is good. Okay. So this is in the hands of the bank, right? This is everything is depending on the money supply. This is in the hand of the bank. Credit expansion is in the hands of government or monetary bank. Credit expansion. What is credit expansion? Pumping money, nothing but giving money. Take reading is a credit expansion. Again, that is a kind of big concept. Credit expansion. That is a monetary policy of the RBI. Credit expansion means what? Something credit means giving loan alva. Credit means giving loan. Credit expansion means just loan kododu. ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕು? RBI ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಲೋನ್ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ RBI ಇಂದ ಲೋನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಲೋನ್ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. I don't want the definition of the credit expansion. I want you to know how it affects on the economy. Is it positive or is it negative? Like it is having both kind of effects, positive and negative. I want you to know what are the positive effects of the credit expansion and what are the negative effects of the credit expansion. Take like this, positive and negative effects of the credit expansion. What is credit expansion? You know, tumba money baratte, more money baratte. Illige economy, more money economy bandre positives enagutte, negatives enagutte. First tell me the positives. Positives of the credit expansion. The credit is expanded, so the positive investment going to increases. Okay. When it is investment, production, what happens to production? Production increases. Then when there is a production means what happens to job creation? Increases, employment increases. GDP increases. When GDP increases, what happens to growth? Increases. When growth is there, what happens to self-help growth? So self-help group, SHG. Self-help group is nothing but Swasahaya Sangha iruttalla, ladies, women groups. Avrige lending sigattalla, amount bank avrige lend ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, otherwise they will not lend. Bank ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, SHGs. So SHG also got benefited. Self-help group. Like microfinance, they will get microfinance. Okay. So human resource development agutte alva. What is human resource? Like good education, good health. These are human resource development. Good food, good water, good environment. So human resource development agutte. Then foreign investment barata when there is a credit expansion. See, rest of the thing is good. Then why can't? This is entire the society. Look up the society. Production is good, job is there, manufacturing is doing good. There is a self-help groups that is also doing good, and human capital is also good. Human resources is also good. Then why not they came? They will come. So foreign investment is also going to increases. These are all the positive effects of the credit expansion. Are you getting my point? Next, negative effects. ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿ. ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಉಂಟಾ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನೀನು UPSC ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೇಳೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಥಿಂಕ್. Credit expansion. Inflation, oh, very good. First of all, inflation going to increase because there is too much money in the economy. Inflation. Money going to pool here. Inflation. Then money supply ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, inflation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then other effects. When there is a inflation, that may reach hyperinflation. See, hyperinflation ಆದರೆ again savings hurts sometimes. ಅದು ಒನ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ. ಓಕೆ, ರುಪಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್. ವೆನ್ ರುಪಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್, ಅವರ್ import going to hurt. Yes or no? Our import going to hurt. Then ಬೇರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ವಾ, ಇಷ್ಟೇನಾ? or see, imagine ವಿಜಯ್ ಮಲ್ಯ, ನೀರವ್ ಮೋದಿ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆನ್ಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಹೇಳಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ ದುಡ್ಡು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇದ್ಬದ್ದವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾಲ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲೂ ನೋಡಲ್ಲ. ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ನೋಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ NPS, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ NPS? ನಾನ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಅಸೆಟ್. What is non-performing asset? One who took loan and he never come to a bank compound after 90 days. No, till 90 days, not after 90 days. 90 ದಿನದವರೆಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಕಡೆ ಮುಖ ಹಾಕಿ ಮಲಗದಿದ್ರೆ we call it as a NPA. Means interest ಕಟ್ಟದಿದ್ರೆ. NPA means non-performing asset. 90 days is the timeline. 3 months. If somebody took loan and he not came back to the bank, even for the sake of paying interest, forget premium, interest ಕಟ್ಟಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಲೋನ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಕಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, then that loan will become NPA, non-performing asset. So number of NPS going to increases. Why? This bank manager, when there is a lot many loan, when there is a lot many money, they will not look after the track history of the receiver, right? They are in the favor of lending money, because otherwise if money parked in the bank means they will not get any revenue out of that, they will not get any profit out of that. If somebody receive that money means they will pay interest for that loan. That's why they are very happy to lend loan to even for the NPAs, even for the whose track record is not good. So that is another kind of banking problem, right? ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಈಗೇನು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆ ಟಾಪಿಕಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟೇನು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಟಾಪಿಕಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿರಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ 2-3 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು. And what is the another negatives? ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. ದುಡ್ಡು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ದಟ್ ಟು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಹೇಳಿ, ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ? ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ. ಹೌ ಲೈಕ್ ಏನು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಬಂತು, ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಏನೇನು ಬಂತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ? ನೋಡೋಣ, ಹೇಳಿ. ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವಿಟಿ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್. ಯಾಕೆ? ಓಕೆ, ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಮಜಾ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ, ಲೈಕ್ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋದು ಬೇಡ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ. ಲೈಕ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಆದರೂ ತುಪ್ಪ ತಿನ್ನು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದೇ ಟುಕ್ ಮನಿ ಫಾರ್ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಷನ್, ಲೈಕ್ ಮದುವೆ. ದೇ ಟುಕ್ ಮನಿ ನಾಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ದೇ ಟುಕ್ ಮನಿ ಫಾರ್ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್. Consumption means not just eating. Consumption means we are utilizing anta. Buying car is also consumption. something which is not investment, everything is consumption only. Celebration, marriage, birthday, they took loan, they took loan for giving birthday treat. So loan become cheaper. The standard of loan going to decreases because we are Indians. South India is better, okay, way better. If you go to Bihar, if you go to UP, if there is a credit expansion, if there is a lot many money in the hands means, they will do like they will celebrate. They will just spend the money irrationally. Most of the people. So they took loan for the consumption, not as an investment. Again they will fall for the debt trap. Debt trap. ಸಾಲದ ಬಲೆಗೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಾರೆ. And this debt trap is bad for the economic health. Economic health. See, when NPS number going to increase, that is also bad for the economy. Because twin balance sheet syndrome. I'll introduce that. ಈಗ ಬೇಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ I want you to know what is twin balance sheet syndrome. ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರು twin balance sheet syndrome? No. ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ನೀವು ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. Commerce. Twin. Then tell me what is twin balance sheet syndrome? Twin, you know that? I know. It is a huge concept in commerce. Twin balance sheet syndrome. I know. Leave. Okay. ಸಬ್ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಕ್ರೈಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ 2070 US ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಆಯ್ತು 2017 ಅದೇನೋ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಗೇನ್ ಡಚ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋದಲ್ವಾ ಐ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಹೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಬ್ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಕ್ರೈಸಿಸ್ 2007 and 8 ಸಬ್ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಕ್ರೈಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ USA 2007 and 8 subprime crisis. See, what is credit expansion? Like there is lot many money in the hands of the people. Same credit expansion policy was there in 2005, 6, 7 in these years of USA. And USA banks, they started to lend a loan for housing projects. Money ಕಟ್ಟಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. That too irrationally. They don't even see the track record. They don't even see their salary slips. They don't even see anything. They just started to lend loan for construction of the houses. And everybody, they are very happy to receive loan to construct the house, and nobody know how to repay back. And everybody took loan and they constructed the house. Okay, this is what happened during 2007 and 8. So when after 2005, 6, 7, when 2007 and 8 came, at that point of time, the people who received loan already, they are not able to pay back that loan to the USA Central Bank. This became a huge issue because every other, like entire money is already in a dead mode. See, investing house is like a dead money going to die, alva. Investing in a house means money going to die. That is not an investment. That is not at all investment. That is a consumption. See, entire country's currency is consumed. There is no money left for the rest of the economic activity. So, USA went for economic crisis kind of situation. USA went for economic crisis kind of situation. When there is no money in the market, is there any demand in the market? ಮನೆ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ, ಫ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ, ಟಿವಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ EMI ಬಂದಾಯ್ತು ಕಟ್ಟಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. EMI ಕಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಇಲ್ದಿದ್ದಾಗ ಫ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಟಿವಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್. ವೆನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್? Production going to reduce, or production got reduced. When there is production reduced, what happens to our supply chain? or raw materials supply going to hurt, like that got shrinked. Everything, every other sector got reduced. Like when there is no production, when there is no employment, when there is no revenue for the government, what happens to the US government? Government itself fall into the crisis kind of situation. Because to give money or to invest in some of the subsidy or to invest in some of the schemes of the government, first of all government needs some of the revenue to invest, and because of the subprime crisis there is no investment, there is no revenue for the government to invest in some other sector. And along with this, when their production got hurt or when their demand got hurt, the rest of the investors, one were already there in the USA, they just started to fly off their capital to rest of the countries. And some of the capitalists from the USA, they just come to India. Some of the capitalists, they just come to south eastern countries like Thailand, Myanmar, that we discussed, Thailand. When there is a subprime crisis, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾ ಮುಂದೋದೆ, ಇದೇನಂತ ಹೇಳಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Okay, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. Thailand, and some of them went to China. Okay, this is all. And after situation is under the control. Like after 2012-13, again the control came into the hands of the USA government. Again everything was stable. Then the economies came back. The capitals, one who went earlier went off. They came back to USA. Okay, so Thailand hurted. India and China, okay. This is what subprime crisis. So subprime crisis in the first ತಲೆಗೆ ಏನು ಬರಬೇಕು? ಹೋಮ್ ಲೋನ್. Right? Full story ಬೇರೆ. Write entire story and analyze it. ಇದು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ? ಥೈಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅದು ಇದು ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸೌತ್ ಈಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್? ಥೈಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್